Look at that. Look at me being on time. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. How's it going? Arizo, hey Dingle, hey Rogue. Hey Saf, welcome, welcome, welcome. You sub for 58 months. My sub hasn't even expired yet, but okay, Twitch. I'll send this message. Whenever Twitch does something stupid, I just assume, ah, yes, you're on iOS. The platform Twitch hates. Vehemently. Twitch does not like iOS. I don't know why. Like, nothing on the iOS version of any of their stuff ever works. It's like, it's all hot doo-doo. Indeed I am. Oh, yeah, that's why. That's why. They just hate you. Alright, we're gonna throw this over here. There we go. I can't get that out of frame. Whatever. It sucks, but it's the only way I can watch it work. Yeah, Apple takes a cut. I mean, it's not even like, oh, Apple takes a cut. Yeah, I know that's the... But, like, their app's functionality is considerably worse on iOS. But sub prices are higher on iOS. You do care. You care me so much. You care for me so very much. Look at me, on time, with some degree of regularity. I'd love to see it. Well, I use Prime. You do care me. That's fine. You get one Prime and you choose it for me. Do not disturb her. There we go. All right. Ooh. Every time I'm trying to fix my sleep schedule and, like, you know, go to bed at a decent hour, Intelligent Systems decides, you know what? Now is the time to drop more official Fire Emblem 7 content. Earlier this week, they dropped Shadows, right as I was, like, face washed, hair put up, in bed. And you know what? The mythic banner or emblem banner that I thought was going to happen, that I assumed was going to be, like, Emblem Roy and, like, Kurt. Nope. Nope. Mythic Lyn. And there I am, stirring from bed at midnight, knowing that there's something wrong with the universe. I open my phone. What do I see? I see Horse Lyn. You're gonna stay up anyway? Don't lie. No, I fell asleep at, like, 9... No, like... I fell asleep at, like, between 10 and 10:30. And then I woke up at midnight. And I'm like, oh, well, I missed the banner. Well, it's probably Roy, but I want to be surprised. So I open up, like, the heroes thing, and it's really hard to, like, not be spoiled, because they just, like, they put the banner stars in the title and the thumbnail. So I'm covering the screen with my hand. I'm like, okay, press that. And, like, when I see the title, I'm like, you're shitting me. Come on, real. Mythic Lyn. It technically is lore compliant. As much as people want to meme that it's not, and, like, yeah, fair if I haven't played through Shadows, but, like, Lyn is basically Uma Furry Altina for Naga in Shadows. No. Isn't December Blue gonna be Dimitri Lamont? Honestly, yeah. People assumed that, like, it was gonna be Roy now, and then, like, Lucina for December. Because December has historically always been a popular female character. Popular character because, you know, that'll get the Fire Emblem fans in, and specifically female because players that have no interest in Fire Emblem and just view Heroes as, like, an anime-styled gacha game, like, ooh, pretty girl. So, probably Lucina, but I could see Dimitri is genuinely popular enough with, like, the younger breed of Fire Emblem fans that I could see him working. I haven't actually checked the story, but what? So, Dimitri is basically, like, the simulacrum summoned by Fenris to be their, like, agent, as it were. Like, oh, how best to put it? Basically, Dimitri is summoned by Fenris, Lin's summoned by Naga, and they're like kind of serving as their champions. Dimitri is Japan's favorite Fire Emblem character, and Lin's the West's favorite. I know it might not necessarily be true because we can't know the rationale of intelligent systems, but I love going with the theory that like intelligent systems was so sure that Lucina was going to win Choose Your Legends that they had commissioned Brave Lucina in advance. And then when Lin handily beat her, they were so taken aback that they had to change the rules. A more charitable explanation would be that like, oh, they realized that Lin is basically the Martha of the West, which really, they didn't realize that at least publicly until Warriors won in an interview, but like, maybe the charitable explanation is they want to do right by both the Western and Japanese fan bases, which I guess would assume that Lucina won amongst the Japanese audience, but like, I don't even know if that's necessarily true. Either way, I love that like, whenever intelligent systems Blurbos lose, they change the rules. When Lucina loses, actually no, it's not the top male and top female character, it's the top two. When Marth loses, oh wait, no, actually second place does get a preferred skill. Yeah, no, Marth gets a perf. Totally. I think Martha's the Martha West. No, Martha's not the Martha West. Lin is the Martha West. Like genuinely, this is in an interview saying that Lin is basically the Martha of the West, and that, you know, she is the introduction character for Western players of Fire Emblem. You know, if you've been with it the whole way through. I can't believe Naga gave a cold shoulder to Marth like that. I mean, there's no well, it's like Marth isn't necessarily Naga's only like, because like if anything, Naga would choose like Tiki or something. But we don't even know that it's necessarily the Naga that exists within Arcanea, Elise, and Jugdral. Isn't it crazy that Lin got so much attention given that she has no story of her own in FE7? What is crazy is that Lin has 10 versions in Fire Emblem Heroes, and it took until the 10th version for any line to mention the bandits that slaughtered her tribe and the explicit goal that she sets out for in FE7. Took 10 versions to address like, oh yeah, by the way, me as a character, not me as just an accessory to Elwood and Hector's quest. Yeah, I have wants and goals of my own, which is to get revenge and prove my strength. She's also not a bow. Honestly, part of the reason that I am pretty confident that Shadows is going to have good representation in Heroes is that I think Heroes did not future-proof itself very well in that they introduced beast units rather than calling them strike. If you introduce strike units, you could also introduce gauntlets, fists, any sort of like unarmed combat into that pool. But specifically with beasts, there's a very small pool of units you can bring in, and not all of them are popular. You've got like Vitellius Lagoos, demonic beasts, the Fate's Awakening shifters, like Pan, Yarn, Keaton, Valoria, Kaden, Selkie. And like a bunch of Heroes OCs, which I am very confident in saying so many Heroes OCs are shifters because Intelligent Systems just needs to like mechanically balance the unit pool by adding shifters to the game that they make popular by, you know, making main characters the book. The FEOCs have been beast because of that, yes. Anyway, I'll be honest, I didn't really expect another Lin ult for at least another 6 months. So, I've only got like 1,000 orbs. An 8% banner, 1,000 orbs is not gonna do it. You got 2 Tomino shards in a row? Congrats. Honestly, I think I have a lot more fun with Shadows when I am playing one of the 3 extremely broken characters. Like, Zasha's just so broken. Map-wide movement, even with a higher cooldown, is so incredibly broken. Not having, like, units that do not have freedom of movement just are way worse. Not just in results, but, like, to play, as far as, you know, the impact you can have on the game. It sucks. Zasha's wacky as fuck, yeah. I'm not gonna say wacky. I'm gonna say, like, genuinely he feels like far and away the best unit in the game. But, again, that's just me. Shadows does feel like a fighting game in that, like, it's very matchup spread dependent. Kurt go Burr. Kurt has a lot of attack. Let me pull it up real quick, because someone made a handy little chart, I think, for I cannot find it. There we go, base stats. So yeah, Lyn has basically like the worst attack and the worst HP. Second only to the healers. Or the mounted units, rather. Or rather, the mounted ranged. So I don't know. Kurt and Dimitri have a bajillion fucking attack, which honestly makes them fine as in melee infantry. Dimitri will just kill you. If you don't debuff him, you just die. Zasha should not have that much HP, or much attack. I'll be honest, 54 is a lot. I wish there was a light version of Dark Slash. Maybe, but like... It does genuinely kind of feel like you lose from the get-go in a lot of cases, which... Maybe that'll change as they add more characters to the game, but like, as it stands, it does not feel like the game becomes meaningfully interesting until you are at a point where like you have a lot of units leveled and like kitted out. Which is a problem if, you know, the game isn't particularly engaging up to that point. It works for a couple of units, for units that don't have a lot of like innate synergies, it doesn't, but Anyhoodle, yeah. Enough talking about Uma Lyn. Actually, I lied. We're gonna talk more about Uma Lyn. This is not when the actual... This is not when it starts. It's not when it starts at all. So yes, we got an Uma Lyn. And we're gonna look at the Uma Lyn. We're gonna look at the Uma Lyn real quick, and then we're gonna play video games. All right, let's mute YouTube music. Let's do that. So yay! I just want to yap about Faye a little bit. I like Faye. It frustrates me, but I like it. I would have done this at the end of last stream, but I was tired. I was going to bed. Yay, new emblem hero. Yeah, Corrin of Fates. That is a mainline game now.
The look on my siblings' faces if they saw me like this.
Corrin's an armor, which like, I'm gonna be so for real. I guess that's fine for a more defensive emblem, but like, I feel like you make Ike the armor sword and make Corrin like. I mean, there was never gonna be an instance where she was a dragon because she can't use dragon stones and engage for some stupid reason. So she really had no other option unless they made something up or used her engage attack as her basics. But yeah, sure, armor, hooray. Oh god, I'm not even gonna bother. I'm not gonna bother. It will do things. You will look at this if it's ever read. Fuck. It's an entire page. I know half of it is explanations on the new divine like veins, but they like there's gotta be a better way to do this. There genuinely has to be a better way to explain this, because like, okay. Neutralizes effects that inflict special cooldown -X. Okay. Tempo reduces damage from foes' attacks by 40% during combat. If you win the res check, you basically increase the speed differential for doubles by whatever difference it is. So I guess kind of a shittier Frozen, but I'm assuming this Corrin is going to be rezzed out to the nines. At the start of enemy phase, you just start divine veining stuff, and oh, what are these? What are these new ones? Icicle, great. So you can make an impassable terrain, and when you break that, it turns into difficult terrain that you can't canto out of, more or less. Great. Honestly, that's not even the gist of that. You could absolutely fit in something that like can be legible here. But like, it feels like it's like in 14 or Baldur's Gate where you could expand an ability to give like the specifics of it. Bullet point, you can solve that. Also, this is the first emblem unit that has like 3 new skills, I believe. Inheritable skills anyway. Yeah, you're not ever inheriting these meaningfully. Corrin's the only source for these. Torrential boost makes sense. It just attack speed res +9. Like Corrin just stacking res because it works well for weapon, but like I'm not sure that's super applicable to other units. Pair up 4, if you're within 3 spaces of an ally. By the way, pair up, I love it! Yay! Best! 3 spaces of an ally, inflicts attack speed -4 on the foe, increases the speed difference necessary for foe to make a follow-up by 10. That's nice. Neutralizes penalties. Your unit deals 15 extra damage, and reduces damage of a foe's attack by 10 during combat. Okay, cool. So dual strike and dual guard. Alright, we're double dipping. That's kind of how it works in Awakening, but sure, whatever. And if foe triggers the attack twice effect during combat, reduces damage by an additional 7. So that's really good. This just kind of feels like a flat version of Legu's friend that also has offensive like value. And if units within 3 spaces of an ally and foe initiates combat, reduce damage by an additional X times 2. So I guess theoretically, you could reduce damage by an additional 3 if you're getting hit at 3 range, which is probably why we're getting hit by, like, Siege Celica here, to have pair up show at its fullest. Wasn't pair up a random limit gimmick slapped onto legendaries? Not all of them, for some reason. The shitty old ones just to be shitty and old and not have pair up, and for some reason they didn't just retrofit that backwards. Speed res Briar at melee save or magic save. If magic staff or dragon foe initiates combat on melee within 2 spaces of unit, triggers savior. So basically, Corrin just wants to eat like res based attacks, and it's a Briar save, so it does everything a Briar save would normally do. Which is that's her gimmick. She will protect you from magic damage. Emblem effect, normal emblem effect. At the start of enemy phase, you can create. Applies divine articles to spaces 2 spaces away from unit for 1 turn. Basically, you just summon the 2 divine veins at the start of your turn, which is probably useful for hit and run, and then being protected by said hit and run. It's probably good for Yunaka. Covers the area with Divine Vein Vert, shields allies from magic foes, and uses counters to destroy enemies. That's not like... See, this isn't enough of a summarization. Previous, way too much. This, too little. Find a happy medium. Pair up is a direct counter to Baby Camilla hitting and running. Baby Camilla is the most, like... Well, that's the thing. We released the counter to Baby Camilla, but later in the video, we will give Baby Camilla some food to just run rampant.
Torrential roar!
I will say, it is cool that they're using the half shift thing that Smash does, and... Actually, yeah, Fates does it too. Like, Fates does it for certain kill animations of the... I think of Dragon Fang. When you proc Dragon Fang, you'll have, like, half shift your arm into a big old claw thing. And Smash does it for Corrin's neutral B, but, like... This is cool. It's a little weird, but it's cool. And you can see, yeah, the entire fucking arena turned from... Turn start. So basically just like litters the arena with destructible tiles and no Kanto zones. What are these attack numbers? I'll be honest, Heroes has gotten to the point where you cannot do the calculations in your head. And I think that is a genuine detriment to Fire Emblem as a whole. Part of the reason I like Fire Emblem over something like Tactics Ogres or FFT is that the numbers and calculations are simple enough that you can reliably plan out all of the interactions that'll happen in a turn. With this, there's so much there's so many things in play, and there is so much percentage modulation to damage and defense that, like, you can't really do it in your head unless you're a math whiz and know everything offhand. But yeah, because Celica's attacking at 3 range, like, Corrin can basically just, like, reduce damage by a lot. Actually, is she attacking at 3 range? She should be attacking at 3 range, right? No, she's doing it too. Maybe thinking of the right unit? Yeah, so there you go. Sigurd breaks a tile, but he can't, like, Kanto back. Hooray. You can't calculate since percent damage reduction is the thing. Yeah, basically. Also, I am happy that Musume Lin is now in Heroes. I'm much a fan.
I won't lose.
I saw JP Shadows tier list says Lin at double S. I think that's full of shit. That is genuinely full of shit. Anyway, Plains win. I like this art. I actually think the Heroes version of this design is way better.
I remember nothing more.
Honestly, this feels more like a Cypher version of Lin, where back in Cypher they were more willing to change characters' outfits around. Like, there were a bunch of variation on Lin's gi back in Cypher before they kind of settled on the design with, like, the Heroes splash screen and eventually Legendary Lin. It seems like anything that's not Legendary Lin or, like, super promoted Lin is using the brown sash, but I do like that they changed the sash from, like, a browner orange to a lighter orange that... No, they changed the sash to a lighter orange, and then they changed the gold gilding on her gi to be the same color, so it's in parity. The reason that original Lin's sash doesn't work as well as, like, the change of Legendary Lin pivoting it to red is that her sash is, like, the only thing in her design that is that particular color. So this small change in color design helps bring her outfit together just a little better in a different way than Legendary version, but it solves the same issue. Also, again, fur. Genuinely adding fur to Lin's design is the best decision anyone's ever made. Anyway, wins a duality. She's a beast unit, surprise, but she hates flyers. Cute, and you kind of forget she has Uma ears for a second. Yeah. Okay, slaying, because she's crit machine, except not really in FE7. You get exposure, speed shackle, and defense shackle, which it kind of feels like a surprise heel turn betrayal thing. I'm fine with that. That feels in line with the imposter thing in Shadows. If you're transformed, or if your HP is... If you exist and aren't dead, at the start of combat, you get attack speed, defense res, equal to the number of foes within a crux range. So you can get up to Omni 14. You deal X plus 5 damage, including area of effect specials. And X is the number of bonus effects active on the unit, which you can get... I think reasonably, like, 6 is what you would expect for a normally supported unit, so... Oh, well, it's a max of 5, so there you go. So at a max, it would just be, like, plus 25 extra damage, which is kind of nutty. And you reduce damage from area of effect specials by 25 too. And she just gets, basically, if you outspeed, you get potent follow-up 100, which, by the way, I like. I like the... It's kind of Marth's divine speed, but, like, I think it works a little better for someone like Lin, where it's like, hey, if you have overkill speed, you get a little more offensive value out of it. That was a good decision Engage made, and I'm really glad that they're using it for Heroes. They should adapt that to mainline. Like, to a lesser degree, mind you, but, like, the lesser third hit could work for absolute speed demons that don't get any offensive value out of super overkill speed. Nimble Beast isn't new, but it's basically speed-based beast damage. Reject Tyranny. I don't know why we're calling it that, but I'm sure it's a reference to something that I'm just not remembering right now. Okay, if unit can transform, transformation effects gain if any foe is within 3 columns with 3 foes center on unit. Sure, so that synergizes with any transformation effects on other skills. Let's see. If you're defending an Ether Raids, basically, hey, you can't get sniped out defending on Ether Raids because you'll transform turn 1. If you exist, you reduce the damage, the percentage of foes' non-special damage effects by 50, which I think that's been a consistent thing they've thrown on other Lin alts, where you're reducing the percentage of like non-special damage reduction by 50%. And that's given to Lin and all allies into 2 spaces of units for 1 turn. And it grants range 2 style. So basically, range 2 style. This is how we get Monikati Mulagir Lin. Alright, there you go. That's the end game. You can kind of delete Faye after that point, but basically, beast units are 1 range locked, so this is how they make her a bow unit that's also a beast unit. If you're transformed at the start, yada yada yada, you get an Omni something plus 8, so... And that something is the number of spaces. So basically, shack her up with Emblem Sigurd and go 4 spaces, at which point you are dealing, you get an Omni 12 plus your, Omni 16? So that's like Omni 30, which I think started with Flame Tribe Limb. You deal a bunch of extra damage, you reduce damage by a lot. And let's see, and you get tempo. Love that. You get tempo and special jump. All right, fantastic. If I were to go over that again, I could make it into like a parsable bullet point thing. Bestial Agility is not new, but Dark Beast Force is probably what we're gonna get with a lot of Shadows units. Inflict speed defense -4 on foe. Disable skill. Okay, so it's Dark Beast Feud, which, hey, cool reference to Legendary Lin. Which disables skills of all foes excluding the foe in combat, neutralizes penalties on unit, and deals +5 damage during combat. So Lin just deals a lot of extra flat damage, which is nice. And alright, good. Fantastic. We do that, we kill, we run away. Hey look, wife. Yes, return to her. And then, hey, if they're behind things, you just pull out your bow. My brain has been so shut off for this. That's fine. The fact is, the ad starts in 6 seconds, and I gotta power through. I gotta power through the first ad. And you just boom, bam, boom, attack at 2 range, and then you just kill Seliph. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Defensive calves don't exist. Sorry. They haven't existed forever. Lin made all calves have to pay, like, the tax for years.
What's your plan?
And then you give all your allies 2 range style. Notably, you don't have to, like, engage, like, with emblem units. You just kind of get it. And blah, 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 blah. That's what you do. Green is not great. I honestly... I don't really need either of these units. Well, it is what it is. Okay, there you go. Ads playing. By the way, hey, there's a new Fire Emblem game. Haha, please play it. Pretty please? Pretty please? All right, fantastic. And there's Fire Emblem Shadows. Hooray. Not much of a reaction video because my reaction was like, I'm sleepy. I won't go back to sleep, but like I have to shitpost on the internet. I immediately thought of like 12 different jokes. So I got out of bed, walked to my computer, shitposted for 20 minutes, and went back to sleep. And you know what? That was a good night for me. Good night for me. We got a song named for Shadowlands theme too. Yes, and I did change it before I went back to bed. It is Betrayal of a Blazing Blade. Anyway, hey, enough about Uma Musalin.